Shalom. I want to start out foremost by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakadish. Salutation to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike. Teach 100% truth. Shalom, Barakathum to them for the edification and knowledge. And give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakadish. Tonight's lesson, we're going to do a few verses starting off. We'll start off with Matthew's 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpent and harmless as doves. So, be wise, having discretion, and ultimately conducting yourselves in an appropriate conduct in a spiritual manner. This relates to the prophets. This red letter was speaking relating to the disciples, as Yahushua was saying to his disciples. But fast forward today would be to the prophets, especially the times we're in. I'm going to go to Ephesians 5:15 and 16. Okay, this is Ephesians 5:15 and 16, Shalakia. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the times because the days are evil. So walk circumspectly, be wise, having discretion, be aware, especially with the time and season we're in, and be not as fools as wise. So be paying attention. I want to go to also Romans 13:11 after this one. And pretty much because redeeming the times because they're evil. We're in very complex and even evil times, man. Just being aware spiritually what kind of times we're in. I want to go to Romans 13:11. And that knowing the time, that now is high time to wake out of sleep, for now our salvation nearer than we believe. So begin to spiritually wake up. Be aware what kind of times we're in. You know what I mean? Noticing what kind of times we're in, because our salvation may be nearer than what we believed. It's time to wake up, pretty much. The 2/3 are not going to wake up. You know what I mean? Zephaniah 13:8. 2/3 part will be cut off, and 1/3 will be cut, and 1/3 will be left therein. So 2/3 are going to be cut off. You know what I mean? Because they're not taking heed and being aware being aware of the kind of times we're in. You know what I mean? And 1/3 will be left therein. And then the next verse talks about and that third part will be going through the fires and trials of the physical fires and the spiritual fires, or trials and tribulations. So, and basically, it's time to wake up. You know what I mean? Time to wake up. I want to go to Ezekiel 21:8 through 11. This is Ezekiel 21:8. I'm going to start from number 8. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesies and saying, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, say, a sword is sharpened, and also furbished. 10. It is sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? That means make a joke about it. No. And it condemneth the rod of my son at every tree. And he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. The hand of that slayer is ultimately Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua. You know what I mean? He's the hand of the slayer, Yahweh the Father. And this relates to the sword of Yahweh, relating to the judgment ultimately on Babylon. That's what those verses talk about. And to put it in context, on the left-hand side, since the Lord is a balanced power, you know what I mean? He used the left-hand side to implement judgment upon 2/3 of our people. Example, that's the police, ones in authority. They part of that implementation of executing judgment on the left-hand side upon 2/3 of our disobedient of Jake, especially the so-called black, Hispanic, Native Americans, especially so-called black. So the Lord is using the police to execute judgment pretty much as a beating stick on Jake for their disobedience. And ultimately, it is the Lord's judging them. And ultimately, because, I like saying that word a lot, because we're under the curses. So that's proof enough that what other nation goes through certain things more than pretty much other nations, continuously, consistently, that lets you know we under the curses. It's spiritual. I don't care what anybody says. It always has been. Especially so-called blacks, because no other nation goes through what they go through. And that lets you know it's punishment ultimately for disobedience, for not following Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua as a nation of people. So in this side, which is this kingdom, they have to be judged. And part of that judgment is using certain entities as a scourge. A scourge is a tool for implement punishment. And part of that scourge is that police. Police is that scourge, that tool to implement on the disobedient of our of the nation of Israel, man. The so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, and the so-called Gentiles that look like other nations but resonate through the spirit to be Israelites as well. The confusion of faith. But specifically of Jake, which is the head tribe, Judah, the southern tribe, targeted especially him because he's the head. He's the head. And so he goes through the worst relating to these matters. All right. And like I said, that's the parable of the sword of Yahweh relating to judgment on Babylon. That's those verses. Now, over the weekend in Atlanta, they sent over 1,000 National Guards troops to quell some of the uprising relating to over the July 4th weekend. I believe on Monday, to protect different infrastructures, entities. That's why they were sent there, and to quell some of the uprising. The protest, 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15 and for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's what we have, a sedition protest in this country over over police brutality, for example, different things. Other countries respectfully regarding different social, political, economical, financial matters in their respective countries. So we in times of insurrection, violent uprising, sedition, where they're not going to respect authorities, mutiny against the authorities in positions of power, and that's what's happening, and that's what you're seeing. Number 17 talks about a man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able to. This is pre-martial law. We have pre-early martial law. We're going to have the real martial law in the latter times, in the not so distant future, where you're not going to be able to go anywhere, curfew time, checkpoints are going to be on lockdown, checkpoints, lockdown. These things are going to happen. These are the precursors of these things. Now I'll just read number 15. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall fight against another, and the swords in their hands, guns, weaponry, nation against nation, civil unrest, race wars. That's going to happen. Esau, he building up ammunition, guns, and buying supplies. He ain't buying it for give as Christmas gifts. So he's planning to use that stuff. Specifically on this so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans. While Jacob's buying sneakers, Esau's buying guns. He's always prepared. He has that kind of mindset. So race wars, civil unrest, civil wars, that's going to happen. And to be honest with you, Esau will win it anyway, because in Job 9:24, the earth, the power has been given. The power has been given. The earth has been given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges. If it's not he, then who is it? The Lord bless Esau, Edom, with the sword. He has the weaponry. He has the technology. So Jacob's not going to win. Jacob's spiritual. That's what he has to be. That's what he's supposed to be anyway. Esau is the one that's carnal and, the hunter. So from a racial aspect, as far as race war, Esau will win. Straight up. Because the Lord blessed him with that, the sword, gain fatness of the earth. This is his time. This is his blessing. That's how he got everything by resources, all kinds of things. He got resources and lands, everything by using the sword, because that's his blessing. This was something short I was making, just various verses through the Spirit. Because Jacob don't understand. He's in a state of mirth, and he's gonna wake up when it's too late. That's just what it is. It'll be too late then. So this was something short. I want to start out by giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashal Bashem Rakadish. Salutation to the elders and apostles, GMS groups, and ones alike, teaching 100% truth. Shalom, barakathum to them. Give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashal Bashem Rakadish. The water shalom, thanks.